We are getting an Abby. This article confirms we are getting an Abby. Now, we might not get as many seasons, or unless they're I don't know, playing around with their words here. They mean one thing, they say another. They mean one thing, they say something in the middle. But there's two really big uh, pieces of information we can gather from this main article. I'm not following anyone else who is talking about The Last of Us, so I don't know if this is big news, little news, talked about, not talked about, but just here, since we're gonna have an afterthoughts podcast after the first episode airs on HBO. That's going to be January 15th. I found this interesting. Let's talk about it. So this article confirms that, yes, in my eyes, Abby will be on the show. Big bad beast Abby. I think they should just say screw it and get. Wait, no. This is someone everyone loved for Ellie. It doesn't matter though because they cast somebody else. But I don't know her as an actor wise. I can see visually why you guys keep picking her. But anyhow, just get the girl who looks like Abby. You know what I'm saying? She probably has to hit the gym though because I think she's skinny in real life. But I saw some behind the scenes and she seems like a treat. So bring her on, let her be Abby. And then you have one character that is like identical to the game. For some reason, I find that to be so cool. Anyway, let's go back to the article. A little bit of an update, though, for anyone interested in Doomsday Kingdom. I'll keep it short and sweet. Issue 6 is out digitally. We are in the middle of sending the UK physical copies out to anyone in the UK. They got the shipment first. The artist lives in the UK. I'm in the US. I'm waiting on my shipment, and we're going to start shipping out. If you need anything, I have an update video coming out that's going to explain in detail, but this is what we have on our Etsy store, doomsdaykingdom.com, or you can go over to Doomsday Kingdom shop, Etsy. I screwed that up, but you get the idea. Just go to Etsy and Doomsday Kingdom. Anyhow, and we got issue 1 to 5 on digital, plus we have back issues coming and volumes. We still have some volumes left. You order it, the volume at least, you order it today, and I'm shipping tomorrow, the next day. It's that quick for those. Anyhow, now this article talks about HBO, the highly anticipated adaptation of a video game, blah, 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 blah. Neil Druckmann, the co-creator of the show, who also adapted the game, is talking to Hollywood Reporter, and he says, contrasting that with Game of Thrones, which ultimately ran out of source material when it caught up to the unfinished series, and that was for the end, for those who, the limited bunch that don't know, the last season of Game of Thrones, they just ran out of book material, so they did their own thing. And here it says, this is Neil Druckmann talking about it. It says, we have no plans to tell any stories beyond adapting the games. Now, I think this is maybe a bit of a hint we can see, because they already know what, or at least Neil Druckmann already knows or has an idea of what they're doing for part 3. So this could hint that, yes, we're doing a 1 and 2, and maybe where we go with part 3. And we don't even know if part 3 is going to have Abby, Ellie, or anything else. Now, he continues, we won't run into the same issue as Game of Thrones since part 2 doesn't end on a cliffhanger. Now, that alone for me it screams that they're going to be doing a part 2 adaptation similar to what we see with part 1, where you're watching the trailer and it looks like a lot of the stuff from the game. So pretty much Abby is coming in 2025, so prepare yourselves. Anyhow, it says The Last of Us debuts on HBO January 15th, and then it goes into some extra information, but it also says the show's first season is expected to cover the entirety of the first game's story. The Hollywood Reporter, which means the second season would likely cover the sequel. Now, again, I don't know. I don't follow YouTubers talking about Last of Us. I don't know if this is big deal, small deal, talked about or what. However, I am down for part 1. And this is where it gets a bit tricky because there's a ton of quality when it comes to the video games for The Last of Us. Part 1, the remaster and the remake are incredible games. The remake is almost perfect. It is what little upgrades they did when it comes to the movement. It's an fantastic, and it is of the highest quality. However, with 2, the gameplay itself, in my opinion, is up there. The quality is amazing, but the story drops really, really hard. And I've talked about this to death, so I'm not going to keep bringing it up. But there's a lot of others that feel the same way when it comes to part 2. Now they might feel like they can hook a TV audience, and that TV audience isn't going to have the same type of reaction when it comes to part 2 for a number of reasons. For one, the game was so very different because you have this brand spanking new video game characters that have become iconic. First, the game released, and they started growing in popularity. Little by little, you would see them on banners and events, and they became these iconic characters for Sony exclusives, especially for Naughty Dog themselves as a company. So by the time the second game came out, this was like going from before Mario, Super Mario, and then he blows up in popularity, and it becomes like everyone knows, oh, that's Mario, and you release a sequel, and King Kong bashes his fucking brains in, and then people go like, oh, all right, So for the show, it's going to be very different. You don't have that huge, rise in a new iconic character. The stories that can follow is unlimited. What are you going to do with these characters? We're going to, copy The Walking Dead and beat their head in like Negan did. And then we're just going to do some other shit that's been done before in, 4 or 5 other movies, even recently. It's like, okay, well, a bunch of manipulative storytelling. We're just going to have 2 characters that randomly everything in their lives because we want it to seem deep. But if you think about it, it's just stupid. You have 2 characters, and everything they do, how they live, totally different characters. Everything they do is mirrored, so it's all the same. It's like, oh my God, come on. Anyway, so I don't know if the TV show fans will have that type of negative reaction to part 2. Pedro Pascal, he's probably not going to stick around. And then what would they even do after it? Now, I think one of the last thing I find more shocking is the fact that they are coming out already and saying, I thought they were going to use Game of Thrones as the blueprint. You came out with Game of Thrones, and now you're doing House of the Dragon, and it's actually successful. It's friggin' great. You put quality behind it. So I thought they were going to do the same thing. The Last of Us world itself, with the infected alone, is enough there visually and with the visuals in the atmosphere. The visuals alone, just like the Predator movie monster, the visuals of that Predator alone, you can make a franchise, multiple movies, comic books, video games. Same thing for The Last of Us. It's not, and I love Joel and Ellie, and I would love to get more from their story. It's ruined now, but I would have loved to get, 2 or 3 games and then maybe wrap it up. They are human after all. They have a limited amount of time, but it's the world itself that lives on past those 2 characters, especially the creatures like the clickers, the cordyceps fungus, how they grow out of the walls. I mean, this is stuff that is really friggin' cool. And I would assume this is a franchise that has legs because the world building itself, you need to go in there and really tweak it. Think about it. The world building is very basic. You have these certain organizations, but then how widespread are they? How connected are they? How much information do they really store and have? A lot of it's left ambiguous. So I figured the show was an opportunity to bounce back and forth and become something more between a show and video game, to coexist, but bounce back and forth, releasing them. So we have, 20 more years of The Last of Us content not releasing every single year. Keep that into perspective. But you have it growing beyond these characters and becoming more and seeing other characters, other situations in other parts of um, the world itself. It doesn't even have to be with the U.S. But from this, I don't know. I don't get that vibe. I get that vibe where they want to do mini projects and they're not interested in going beyond Joel and Ellie, at least for right now. It's Hollywood. You know damn well something's going to pop off. I still feel like in 15, 20 years from now, we're going to get a Joel and Ellie movie reboot anyway, because that's what we've been conditioned to understand from Hollywood. They just constantly bring it out and recycle it. But I'm not going to keep running my mouth on this topic. I'm pretty much done. The two main things I wanted to bring up was Abby is coming to season 2, probably 2024, 2025. What do you guys think about that? Is that good or bad? I'll be honest with you. I'm pretty much done. I'm a one hitter quitter. I'm a season 1. I'm gonna hit it and split it. I'm out. And that's mainly because if they are gonna stick with the story from part 2, it's very generic and flimsy. When you're not playing it, when you're not the character doing all that, part 1 is simplified, powerful, and beautiful. Part 2 is very generic, overdone, and manipulative. It relies heavily on, look at this big, villain. And then you turn around and it's like, oh, look at a butterfly. You're not going to squish the butterfly, are you? And it's like, well, duh, no. And then they force you to squish it. And it's like, well, I don't want to. But you know what I'm saying? It's like, it has that type. So that's why it's not just simply, oh, Joel dies, I'm out. There's a lot more to it than that. It just has a very, think about it. You're going to watch season 2 of The Last of Us. I'm down for the zombies, but what do we got? 2 characters running around trying to kill each other. One who's supposed to be the hero, slaughtering people one after the next. And then they get to the person that they want to kill and they let them go because they were beat up and wounded. Oh, wow. Can't wait for part 2. No, season 1 and I'm out. That's it. You guys leave me your thoughts and opinions about that. I'm going back to bed. Good night. Let me get my pillow. My mint. It's hiding on me. My mint green memory foam. I don't have time. Give me some thoughts and opinions, though.